Our daily Bible reading for February 16th. Our reading today comes from Matthew chapter 26. We'll be reading verses 17 through 46. Now, on the first day of Unleavened Bread, the disciples came to Jesus saying, "Where will you have us prepare for you to eat the Passover?" He said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples.'" And the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. When it was evening, he reclined at table with the 12. As they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you, one of you will betray me." And they were very sorrowful, and began to say to him, one after the other, "Is it I, Lord?" He answered, "He who has dipped his hand in the dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born." Judas, who would betray him, answered, "Is it I, Rabbi?" He said to him, "You have said so." Now as they were eating, Jesus took bread, and after blessing it, broke it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink of it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink again of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "You will all fall away because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee." Peter answered him, "Though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away." Jesus said to him, "Truly, I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, "Even if I must die with you, I will not deny you." And all the disciples said the same. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And taking with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me." And going a little farther, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again, for the 2nd time, he went away and prayed, "My Father, if this cannot pass unless I drink it, your will be done." And again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. So leaving them again, he went away and prayed for the 3rd time, saying the same words again. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Sleep and take your rest later on. See, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." Some thoughts for today. Paul writes, "For one will hardly die for a righteous man, though perhaps for the good man someone would dare even to die." Wars produce many accounts of unselfish acts of courage and sacrifice. Many who have become heroes and heralded for their bravery often recount the experience as one in which they did not think about what they did. They simply acted. Such are the ways of courage. Many times it is the unrehearsed reaction to danger that spurs people on to heroism. It is not the well-thought-out plan of how one would go about with boldness into the face of danger, but the unselfish concern for others. Conversely, it is often the people who think they shall perform bravely in times of peril that in fact fall quite short of what they thought would be the outcome. Even those who are trained extensively in emergency preparedness will tell you that the adrenaline and uncertainty of the moment often lead them in very different directions than anticipated. Peter quite brashly boasts of his superior courage to stand by Jesus in his hour of trial. How discouraging it must have been for Jesus to know that even his closest friends would flee. In Luke's account, Jesus tells Peter that Satan has asked for permission to sift him like wheat. It is just like Satan to seek to destroy us in times of weakness. Jesus tells Peter he has prayed for him that when he comes through this trial, that he may be able to strengthen the others. What happens next must have been humiliating to Peter and the rest of the disciples. As Jesus enters his greatest trial, the disciples scatter and he is left alone. We too may make a bold claim that our faith is enough to move mountains. Still, we must remember examples such as Peter, Elijah, David, and Jephthah, who in times of unguarded emotions fell under the load of trials. Peter tells us, "Be of sober spirit, be on the alert. Your adversary, the devil, prowls about like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour." 1 Peter 5:8. A question of the day. Have you ever been disappointed that your faith was not stronger in times of trial? And finally, a thought to meditate on this day. Be careful this day, knowing that perhaps Satan is crouching at your door, waiting for you to stumble. And those are our thoughts for today, February 16th.